Hi, One Best PR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. We are talking with Doug Upstone, and this is a continuation of our segment known as Top Dogs and False Favorites. Doug Upstone, we've just got 4 games upcoming this weekend, of course, but it'll be interesting to hear your take on the lines for a bunch of these games. You're going to cover 3 of them with us. What's the first one you'd like to discuss with us, Doug?
Well, first one, Peter, I got a false favorite on Seattle in this case. Now, listening to all the radio and TV, quote, experts in the NFL, I think it's pretty hilarious. Now, every football bettor knows anytime you overreact to what you just saw in one game, that's a way to bleed money the following week. Now, 2 weeks ago, nobody could figure out how Seattle could have lost to St. Louis, and everybody was wondering about where this team is really going. Well, the following week, they come ready to play in Arizona. The Cardinals do not, and they blow them out. So all of a sudden, Seattle is back as the most dangerous team in the NFL and that nobody wants to play. But what about Minnesota, Peter? Since they lost 38-7 to Seattle, they've come back. They've won 3 of their last 4. They've covered 4 spreads in a row. They've gotten more physical. And I think what you're going to see here is a team that is much more ready to play, has a lot more confidence by winning the division. And I think the home field will mean more to them this time around. I see this game, Peter, as a 3-point outcome either way.
Yeah, there has been some notable movement on this one. It opened 4.5, got bet up to like 5.5 or 6. Now it's back down to 4.5 or 5. And of course, Minnesota 13-3 against the spread during the regular season. So here they are as a home dog of more than a field goal in the playoffs. Seems a little bit obvious that maybe that line is a little bit high, but we will see. We'll see where it closes and if any sharp action comes in. What's your second top dog or false favorite for NFL wildcard, Doug?
My second is a top dog in which I'm going to go against the public line on the total in Cincinnati. Now, on Monday, we read that Cincinnati quarterback Andy Dalton got his cast off his non-throwing hand, and he's going to give it a go in practice this week to see how it goes. But the assumption is that A.J. McCarron will still be the starting quarterback no matter what, and Dalton will be in the bullpen should McCarron stumble in any fashion. Now, this information helped push the line, I believe, down to 45.5. Now, with the previous 2 contests, both totals ended up closing at 49, so this is quite a reduction, from the last 2 games. But when I look at these teams, I just see a lot of playmakers on the field for both teams on the offensive side. And in Cincinnati's case, they're also getting back Tyler Eifert at their tight end, which I think is going to help whomever is playing quarterback for Cincinnati. We already understand what Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh has as far as receivers and running backs and everything else here. And also the fact I like the over, and also want to mention that the Steelers, Peter, are on an 8-0 overrun in the playoffs.
All right, so that's a false under Doug Upstone is giving us. Yeah, I would say as of right now, that's my strongest lean, although I haven't bet that one yet either. But that is my strongest lean of the entire wild card round is the over in Pitt, Cincinnati. I'm in agreement with you there. All right, what is your third top dog, false favorite, or maybe a top under, false over, or vice versa for us, Doug?
Well, I'm going to throw this all different direction. I got a top underdog, and I'm going to go with money line in the Queen City. Now, I have to admit, Peter, this is not my favorite play of the week, but it certainly has a number of factors that are involved that I like. I think Cincinnati has a legitimate shot to win this game outright. Now, I understand the difference in quarterbacks, in terms of Roethlisberger versus McCarron, and Pittsburgh is 20-5 and 19-6 against the spread in Cincinnati. Nonetheless, I look at the Bengals. They were 2nd in fewest points allowed. They were 6th in yards per pass attempt allowed. So I think that's going to help them a great deal in terms of confidence coming forward. The other thing was you look at Pittsburgh, in their last 10 games, even though they put up some tremendous offensive numbers, they averaged 2.4 turnovers per game. And in the playoffs, Peter, we know that can be fatal if you start making mistakes, at this time of year. Pittsburgh was fortunate that they had picked up D'Angelo Williams to replace Le'Veon Bell before the season started, and it worked out. But now Williams has tweaked his ankle, and he's day-to-day, and there's a lot of talk that he may or may not be able to go. He is their running game, and he's also a big part of their passing game. What I look for here, I think Cincinnati is going to come up with a big effort against Pittsburgh. And I think, Peter, on the money line, the Bengals are the play.
I can certainly see that, Doug. With Pittsburgh's offense, would not be a surprise at all if they win by 20 or 25 points. But I admit, when the line first came out, I was scratching my head a little bit, wondering whether Cincinnati really deserved to be a home dog to Pittsburgh. Doug Upstone, thanks so much for your thoughts. Very interesting, as always.